Guerdon, written by the author, Shabala Shaman Basadar, my spiritual name. I chose to write this book in my spiritual name due to the fact that it was coming from a spiritual light. And the purpose of me writing this book was to educate, hopefully inspire, and clear up any misrepresentation of reparations. Now, this book can be viewed in 2, 3, 4 different parts, but to the author, being I, views it as 2 parts, being Black business and reparations. But one can view the book and look at it as 3 parts. If you are to read throughout the whole book, you would see that it covers Black business, repatriation, and reparations. But then, when you get to reparations, it covers man versus God, which can in turn be viewed as 4 parts. So however you view it, but to the author, it's 2 parts, being Black business and reparations. The first part of the book, Black business, covers a variety of information pertaining to and focusing on Black business owners and their relationship with Black consumers. Now, this is not to say that Black businesses is not catering to other nationalities, but it is my duty to try to enlighten the power behind Black businesses and Black consumership. Now, the book goes into great detail, trying its best to enlighten how Black business owners can work with Black consumers and how Black consumers can work with Black business owners. Because at the end of the day, it's all beneficial. But there's a lack of knowledge between both the business owner and the consumer of understanding what it is to have a business in one's community where both parties can benefit. And this is what my book goes into, explaining how do we recognize this and how do we grow from this and put it into action to bring forth powerful wealth within our communities. An example in the book, I talk about why it is important for Black consumers to patronize Black businesses, why it is important to bypass Walmart for the item you're going to get at Walmart. If there's a store 3 blocks down that is Black owned that has that item, why is it that important to bypass that Walmart and go to his or her business and get that item, even though it may be a little bit more expensive? The book also goes into how Black business owners and Black consumers should be treating each other. And also, Guerdon gives examples of the benefits of the correct relationship between Black business owners and Black consumers. It's great. It goes into some real nice scenarios of explaining why you should, um, um, as the business owner, cater to the black community as well as other communities, and why it is important to get into the mindset of the consumer. And on the other side, why it is important for the black consumer to understand the benefits of paying that extra 50 to $2, 50 cents to $2 at a black business. You have to ask yourself, well, why are other ethnic groups opening up stores in our communities? Right? So Guerdon goes into different types of scenarios to try to help you visualize how important it is to have a relationship between the black business owners and the consumers. And no one is greater than the other because they all feed off each other. And Guerdon hopes to educate you or give you some type of enlightenment on if this relationship was to happen for 10 plus years, how much powerful wealth will be circled within small black communities. So Guerdon goes into a variety of information as it pertains to black business owners and black consumers, trying to bring them together to work for a greater cause, for a more powerful wealth being introduced and formulated amongst the people in the community. I hope that you enjoy that part of the book, if you get that far. Then Guerdon goes into the next part, which is reparations. But beforehand, it has an intersection that deals with repatriation. And repatriation and Guerdon deals with the relationship with black Americans, whether it be on an individual or an entrepreneur level, having a relationship internationally with Africa, with China, with Saudi Arabia, with Europe, different countries in Europe. All the while trying to build a black nation. We hear constantly the word, we need to separate. Well, no one ever goes into detail the level of degree of separation. Do you take and want to go in one corner and don't deal with nobody else? Is that a reality? Or do you formulate a separation where you operate as one nation, but you have relationship with other nations? Is that the reality? So Guerdon touches up on if, as an individual or entrepreneur, was to have a relationship or even move to another country, such as Africa, what is to be expected? Do you really feel free? are you living among someone else? Do they accept you? So these are the things that Guerdon sort of explains in the book. Then we move on to reparations, which is the main reason. Not that everything before this is not important. Rather, it all ties in together. But reparations is the beginning, is the foundation. And reparations has been spoken about in this country for years. But in the last 4, 5, 6 years, it's been ramping up even more. But the language that we hear as it pertains to reparations, to me, seems to be very, very bland, childish, and worthless. Because when you talk to someone of color about reparations, or anyone in this country about reparations, the first thing goes to their mind is currency. Oh, but Guerdon explains to you or show you that currency is most likely the least important package of reparations. I'll say that again. Package of reparations. Guerdon would show you there are other things that needs to be involved or put on a table and put into action if there is to be reparations. That is more important than currency. Yes, currency is involved, but there are other factors that are more important that will lead to the growth of currency, which is very important. I got tired of hearing currency. Guerdon explains to you that there's no true reparations without your own face on your own currency. So if someone gives you reparations in currency, but your face is not on there, then now you have to ask yourself, well, how far is this going to go? It's not only about the money, it's about the other factors that Guerdon brings forth in the book, in the literature. And it all ties in. Guerdon also tells you who, where, how you get reparations. And another part of the how is how much currency, how much reparations do one get. Now this is where it gets a little debatable and non-agreeable and confusion that gets involved, because Guerdon was written, as you can see in the title, for Black North Americans. Guerdon tried to really bring home the Black Americans that landed, that can somehow trace, which is impossible, but possible with money and extensive research. If you can prove, or if you know in your heart, that your ancestors came from the shores of Africa straight to what we call North America. Guerdon focuses on these people. Now, this is not to say that reparations is not deserved to our other brothers and sisters of the diaspora, whether they be in the Caribbean, Africa, China, Europe, the Middle East, Canada. But Guerdon explains the who, which brings into the separation of reparations that is written in the book, man versus God. So this, in reading this, can be very controversial or debatable, because there will be a sect of black people that was affected by the worldwide slave, transatlantic slaves, or whatever you want to call it. It changes every week. Going to read Guerdon and probably come up with the conclusion, they're not looking out for us, they're looking out for a certain group of people. And this is why reparations is not being put on the table. One of the reasons it's not being put on the table due to the fact that it's very confusing. It's how do we give this in fairness? And then I think the second most important part that's causing reparations not to come up on the table is the currency, how much. And then the third, I would venture to say, it's the ones responsible, the who is supposed to be responsible for giving the repairments, the reparations, frankly don't care. So this is what makes reparations confusing from coming to the dinner table. But in Guerdon, we go into great detail of what reparation really is, because the author of Guerdon wanted to make a point that reparations is not just about currency, but these other factors. Reparation was to repair a nation not only as a band-aid, but to move them forward and grow as a nation. Currency reparation equals stagnant nation. But currency plus other factors in reparation equals an independent nation. Giving itself room to continue to grow as a nation. This is what Guerdon gives you. And when you really get to the end and go back and think, repatriation ties into black businesses. Because if you get the correct reparations that is spoken of in Guerdon, with the whole package, then now you grow black businesses. And now you grow black consumers. And on the front cover of the book, there are 4 words: respect, trust, pride, and unity, which you also will read in Guerdon, going into great detail as it pertains to black business owners, black consumers, black people as a nation. Because if we don't have these four things, respect, trust, pride, and unity, then having successful continuing black businesses, having successful continuing black consumers, having success in continuing repatriation relationships, having continuing success in reparations as an independent black nation will be worthless if we don't practice and embed those four into our characters. So I'm not a salesman, but as I stated before, this book comes from the Spirit. It's something I didn't want to do. It's something I had to do. And also, although I'm not the guru of black businesses, black consumership, reparations, it had to be written in this form. And I don't expect everybody to agree with it. It's not supposed to be agreeable. It's not supposed to be agreeable. So I hope that you visit Amazon, get the book, read it, and I would love to hear your side of the view. I would love for you, because Guerdon is not finished. It is only complete when you get the book and you add to it. Guerdon, Guerdon, written from a visual and spiritual point of view.